I'm currently 39 weeks pregnant. I'm exactly 9 months, so I'm very close. My due date is actually next week, so I should be popping anytime soon now. I don't know if I'm going to be going to labor like this week or next week. They did check my cervix, so I am already dilated 1 centimeter, and I have to go back on Thursday. So this coming Thursday I have to go back to another appointment and see if I've changed, if I'm the same, or like what's gonna happen. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery experience, so if you guys want to find out more about that, stay tuned. I'm also going to try and provide like some visuals because I did take a couple images when I was there, so I'll try to insert them along the video, and if not, then use your imagination. So on May 28th, I was 39 weeks and 3 days. I went to my checkup. I went to the doctor to see how I was doing, to see if I was like dilating anymore, to see how the baby was doing and all that. They were going to be monitoring the baby as well, checking the heartbeats and checking if I was having any contractions and like how many and stuff like that. When I went to the appointment, you know, like the center procedure, they checked and everything. I was still 1 centimeter dilated, and they did an ultrasound, and at the ultrasound they saw that the amniotic fluid for the baby was really low. So this was very concerning to them because they didn't want it to go like any lower, because the amniotic fluid is inside the amniotic sac where it keeps like the baby, like it feeds the baby, like gives it all his nutrients, and it's like that little protective bubble for them. So he was concerned, and he was telling me that he would rather send me to the hospital to get induced. That way there's no like complications afterwards or like anything like that. So I was like, okay. So it was like around 12 o'clock. I was making my way over to the hospital. So I just came back from my doctor's appointment, and I'm going to get induced. So I'm on my way to the hospital already, and my mom's gonna be coming with me. My mom and I grabbed our stuff. I told her, I was like, it's time to go, and she was like completely shocked. She was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, it's really time to go. And she thought I was joking, and I told her, no, I'm serious, like we have to go. They told me to eat something light. I didn't have much of an appetite, so I just ate like a banana with yogurt, and then we made our way to the hospital around 12, I believe. We got there like 12:30 or so, and once we got there, we got checked in, and they told us to go to a room that was waiting for us, like that we were going to be in, where I was going to deliver the baby. And once I got inside, they told me to get changed, so I undressed myself and I put on the little hospital gowns that they have. And then they hooked me up to the monitor. So one of them was for the baby's heartbeat, to like check and keep track of that, and then the other one was for my contractions. They wanted to see like how many I was having like within a certain time. They also checked my blood pressure, and throughout the whole time they were like checking my blood pressure every time they came in to check on me. They also hooked me up to the IV, and they hooked me up to like saline, I believe, to keep me hydrated throughout the whole time that I was there. They put it in my left arm, and that really hurt me. Like, it was so uncomfortable, and I didn't like it at all. Like, that's the thing that bothered me the most, besides like everything else that was going on. But that would really annoyed me, and I was like so annoyed with it. Like, I just wanted to rip it out. So once the nurse came in, she was like finished like talking about the paperwork, signing some consent forms and stuff like that. Since they were going to induce me, they were going to put like something inside my cervix to soften it up. Rude. So anyways, they were going to put something called Cervidil inside my cervix, and they told me that that was to help soften my cervix. So that was going to be placed inside me for about 12 hours. So they put it around 1:30 p.m. So that was after I had checked in, just like an hour later. So it was at 1:30 p.m. and they were gonna take it out at 1:30 a.m. after 12 hours had passed. Meanwhile, throughout that whole time, I was just there like settling in, watching TV, and we were eating a couple snacks. We brought our own snack bag because they told us that they were gonna provide us with meals, but it was only like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then like in between they wouldn't have like any snacks or anything because the cafeteria was closed. By the way, the food was amazing. The food was very delicious. They always had like something new, and they would ask us for our preference. So they would be like, do you guys want to have like milk or juice with your breakfast? And we would get to choose, and it was really yummy. Like, it wasn't bad because I had heard that like, oh, hospital food is pretty yucky, but it was pretty good. Like, I mean, I was always hungry, so maybe that's why. But you know me, a little tragona over here, just always eating. So after 12 hours of waiting, a nurse came in to check on me to see how I was doing and to take out the medicine that they had put down there. So they checked me to see if I had like dilated or anything, and I did not. I wasn't progressing. I was just over it. Like, I felt hopeless. I didn't feel strong enough. I didn't think I could do it anymore, and I just, like, at that moment I felt like so defenseless and weak and really vulnerable. It was tough because like I had so many emotions and like my hormones were all over the place, so I didn't think like I could do it. But then my mom told me everything was going to be okay. I wasn't expecting any of that, and like I was in shock. I was like, oh my gosh, like something's wrong with me, something's wrong with my body. And I just like had a lot of doubt in my mind, and I asked the nurse if I could take a shower, just a quick one, just to like clean myself, you know, and just like prepare myself for what was about to come next. And they told me it was okay. While I was showering, I was just like letting everything out, so that way I didn't have anything like weighing on me, like any negative vibes or any energy weighing on me. And it did help because afterwards, like I just put myself together, like I was able to like think with like a clear head. And then afterwards they gave me a couple hours to see if my body would like naturally start contracting, and then they were gonna check on me to see how I was doing. When they came back to check on me, it was I think 5. So they left me there for about like 4 hours. Then they were gonna come back to see how I was doing. I wasn't dilating, so then they hooked me up with Pitocin, so that way it can help me contract, and with the contractions then I can start dilating more. I was already on the medication for about an hour and a half. They came back to check on me to see if I had dilated anymore, and I had dilated about like 3 centimeters already, so I was making some progress, but they wanted to keep monitoring me and to see if I would make a faster progress, but I wasn't, so they increased it. About 4 o'clock, I believe, I was starting to have more stronger contractions, and they were like 5 to 6 every 10 minutes. So for me, it was already starting to get like painful. The pain was a kind of pressure. It was just, I was not feeling it. It was very uncomfortable, and I didn't want to be uncomfortable or in pain for the rest of the delivery, or like the rest of labor. So I just wanted to be like at peace, and I wasn't getting any sleep, so I decided to get the epidural. It was really scary because they told me that I had to be completely still and I couldn't move, but my body like naturally like flinches or reacts to any little thing. So it was tough. Like in my head the whole time I was thinking like, if I move I'm gonna die. So I just had to like hold on. They put me like on this like, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm gonna like try to insert a picture, and they put me on there and I was just holding on to it, and then my mom came around and I asked her to hold my hands because I was shaking. Like I was shaking so much, my whole body was shaking, but mostly like my hands and my legs. Really nervous because I didn't want to move and I was trying to focus on that. So she held my hands so that way I could be like a little bit more stable. And originally I didn't want any medicine or anything like that, like no epidural. I wanted to do it naturally, but I gave in and I decided to get it because I thought that that was best for me. Hello, I just got the epidural. So it's connected. So after the epidural, it was smooth sailing from there. Like I was finally at peace. I was finally able to get some rest, and then they inserted a catheter inside me so that way I can just pee into a little bag that they connected me to. Since I'm numb from the waist down, like just completely numb, I can't get up at all anymore. I can't get up to use the bathroom, so they had to insert the catheter so that way my pee can just go and I wouldn't pee myself. And also my blood pressure was going up a bit. A couple of times when they would check me, it was higher than normal, so that's why they kept checking up on me to make sure that I was doing okay. So after that, that's when they started switching me over to my side, so that way the epidural, like when the medicine came in, it would be even on both sides and I wouldn't feel more numb on one side. I still felt some of the pressure. The contractions weren't completely gone. I still felt them, but they weren't as painful, and it was definitely a lot better. And then finally this nurse came in, and when they checked me, I was still at like kind of a slow pace. I wasn't dilating like as much anymore. So then this nurse came in and she asked me if I wanted to try the peanut ball. So instead of the pillow that was in between my thighs, they would put like a peanut ball. It's kind of like a yoga ball, but it's shaped into like a peanut. And I told them, sure, okay, I'll give it a try. And then we adjusted the peanut ball to make sure I was comfortable. Hours had passed already, and this was on May 29th. Just to give you guys, I forgot to tell you guys that it was May 29th. So it was May 29th already, and this was in the evening, like around 6 p.m. or so. And then they took the peanut ball out and they were gonna check me, but since the nurse that was helping me, her shift was over, so she was gonna switch with somebody else. And she told me that the next nurse that came in, she was gonna check me to see how I was doing. And when she checked me, I was already 9 centimeters dilated. So it was crazy because I jumped from like 4 centimeters, like 4 to 5 centimeters to 9 centimeters. It took a while, but I got there eventually. And when I found out, I was just really happy because like, yay, he's almost here. Like, he's gonna be in my arms pretty soon, and I'm gonna be able to hold him and like just be with him. So I was really looking forward to that. And the nurse was telling me that like that it's almost time, that they're gonna call a doctor for her to come in so she can check me. So then they started getting like all the things ready. They were just like prepping the room that I was in, they were prepping their room, so they were getting everything ready for the birth of Leo. And then after that, they decided to wait like an hour and a half or two to see if my water would break on its own, but it didn't. And then they called the doctor so she can come check, and if not, they were gonna have to like do it themselves. So they were gonna have to pop or break my water. And while the doctor was checking me, my water broke. So right then and there, it just went pop. And then they said like, okay, let's start getting ready. Everybody was getting to position, and it was just all happening so fast. They told me like, okay, now we're gonna start pushing. It's time for you to start pushing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening. I was like, ah. I was telling my mom, like I would look over to her and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like it's time. This doctor stepped out for like 5 minutes or so, and we had to wait for her to come back because since she was delivering the baby, like we couldn't start without her. And I couldn't wait because before that we had done like a practice push, and they told me to stop pushing. They're like, wait, we have to wait for the doctor. And I was like, what do you mean wait? Like I'm trying to push this baby out already. Like he wants to come out now. Let me push him out. And then the doctor finally came and I was able to start pushing again. And it felt so weird because I couldn't really feel anything at all down there. So like they held my legs up, like you know how you guys see it in the movies and TV, they hold them up. And I was holding like the back of my thighs so that I can get some like good support so that way I can be able to push and have that support. So while I was pushing, I would have to like push and then hold my breath for like 10 seconds. And while you're holding your breath, that's what helps like push the baby out. So we did a practice one, and after that we waited for the doctor to come back. And when the doctor came back, it was time to start pushing for reals. And so every time I had a contraction, they told me to push and then hold my breath for 10 seconds and then keep doing that over and over again. So literally that was like the fastest, like that part went by so fast. Literally only took me 10 minutes to push. I did like 10 pushes or so. Like it did not take me very long to push, and I was really happy about that. And he came out, he popped out his head first, and I just heard him crying and crying, and they cleaned him up a bit. My mom got to cut his umbilical cord, and then I was of course very emotional. I started crying because I was so happy, and I was just like so overwhelmed with joy that he was finally here and that I was able to hold him. They placed him on my chest for the skin to skin contact, or like the bonding, so we could have our bonding time, and it was just like the best ever. Like I cannot explain how beautiful and amazing and just magical the whole experience is. And the crazy part afterwards was that I was bleeding out a lot, so they couldn't control the bleeding, which was scary. Like I wasn't really paying attention because I had him in my arms, but I just remember them like putting pressure on my stomach trying to get like all the blood out because I just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. They couldn't control it until finally they were able to control the bleeding, and they told me that I had lost about 1 liter of blood. So they kept checking me a lot after they had switched us to a new room, like to the postpartum section. They just kept checking me to make sure that I wasn't losing any more blood. Thankfully everything was okay afterwards. It was a pretty crazy experience, but I would do it all over again for him. Now I'm going to be answering a couple of questions that you guys asked me through Instagram. So the first question I got is it really true that once you see your child, it's like falling in love? Yes, I believe that it is true. Well, for me it is, because once I got to hold him and see him like physically, I fell in love again, because I was already in love with him, but when he was born I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like on a whole different level, a whole new type of love. Like, it's just, you can't compare it to anything else. The next question I got is, how does your body feel after having Leo? So my body feels pretty good. It just doesn't look the same, obviously, as it did before. I did gain a lot of weight during my pregnancy. At the beginning, like, I was about, like, before I was pregnant, I was about like 125, and then the last time I checked my weight while I was pregnant, I was like, I think 160 something. So I gained a lot of weight. But now, like, postpartum, I lost 20 pounds, so I'm like about like 140, 145, around there. I still have my stretch marks and all of that, and I still have some belly weight, but it's not something I'm putting myself down for. It's more like I appreciate my body for being able to sustain life, to help me carry Leo. The next question is, what's the hardest part of being a mom? So it's pretty challenging. It's definitely, motherhood in general isn't something that comes easy. It's definitely a learning process. Since I'm like a new mom, I'm still like trying to figure everything out. Thankfully I have some guidance and some help, but like, not everyone's perfect and everybody makes different decisions, so I feel like it's up to every mom, but I'm definitely learning a lot. Hardest part is probably for me is trying to get enough sleep, because at the beginning it was crazy. I was really tired and exhausted because of everything that my body went through, and both like physically and mentally. So I guess this also ties in with another question: how am I feeling physically and mentally? First week after I came back, when I was settling in and adjusting, I didn't sleep for that whole week. I was really sleep deprived. I wasn't eating correctly, and like, I was getting constant headaches, and I wasn't taking care of myself as much as I would like to, because I was kind of focusing on the baby a lot. On the third day, I believe it was, after I came back home, it was late at night. I was really tired, and Leo was crying. I couldn't figure out what was wrong or like how I could help him. I was still adjusting to him, and he was still adjusting to me, you know, because he was fresh out the womb. So it's new for both of us, and like, I just like started crying with him, because I was kind of like overwhelmed, and I was a little bit stressed, like, and he wouldn't stop crying, so I just started crying with him. And then I asked my mom for help, because I was really tired. I didn't want to drop him. The next question is, are you a single mom? Yes, I am a single mom, but just because I'm a single mom doesn't mean that Leo is missing anything. If anything, he has everything he needs and more. He's definitely surrounded by a lot of people who love him, so I have been providing for him since I was pregnant, because he was still with me then, and now that he's physically here with me outside of the womb, I'm still providing for him, giving him everything that he needs. So like, providing for a roof over his head, his food and all of that, taking him to his appointments. So even though I am single, I am not alone. I have help from people that love him and love me, and that have been supporting me through everything and through this tough time, which leads to my next question, which is, what is it like having a baby during a pandemic? It's hard because I've always wanted to take him out. Like when I was pregnant, I wanted to take him out to like see the world, you know, once he was born. But now, in a way, I'm thankful because I get to spend more time with him and keep him safe. So we don't really go out at all, just for like his appointments or if I have to go to one of my appointments. But I do my best to keep him safe and to keep him indoors. It's not how I imagined it to be, but I'm like looking at the positive side of things. Alright, so that wraps up the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see for the next upcoming videos. I have some ideas, but leave a comment below and let me know what you guys think of this video, if you guys liked it or if you guys didn't like it. Doesn't matter. Alright, so that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
This was Giselle's room after birth. You know, after baby Leo was born, this was our own room for. Hello, this is me. This is, you know, where they monitor everything for her. This was Giselle's bed. There's Giselle with baby. We're almost ready to go. That was my bed and my dinner, breakfast, everything table. And this is baby's crib, which he didn't want to stay in. Our closet, another extra chair, the board with the name of all the nurses that helped us through all this, and of course the TV. Bye, Giselle. It was a wonderful experience, right?
Yeah.